Hey, we are here at Confluence Pond. Just look around me. The pond's actually behind me, and we're actually here at the dam. We're actually going to fish this dam, below the dam and above the dam. Generally, like, the trail actually goes on the other side of the pond, but this side of the pond, as you can see back there, actually has much easier access to the shore. So we're gonna be fishing there. Hopefully some bass, some pike, but really what we're gonna be looking for is legendary sunfish. I'm not really sure why I bought the damn net, because even legendary sunfish don't really require a net to reel up. So we'll see if we can catch anything legendary. So what we're gonna be using is a 1/16 jig head, like this. Or actually no, this is a 1/32 jig head and a 2-inch gulpy worm. I know this works here. I've fished with these in the creek and yesterday for like 10 minutes on the pond before, and I know these actually work. So that's what we're going with. Our first target is the slack water right here. You can see that the falls actually goes around here, and there's 2 slack water areas. One right around here, which I'm gonna just drop it in and see if I can get any bites around here, which I don't think so, because I think this slack water area is probably too small. But I would actually need to move over here. It's kind of hard to navigate because there's only the rocks and there's like this weed thing. So I can't really drop it in. I have to really get down there first. So I'm gonna drop this in here. Is that a fish already? No, I'm just hooked on that. And I'm hooked on the weed. Not like the reed, I mean, not the weed. Doesn't seem to be much fish around because I don't even see that thing getting attacked. So we're gonna drop in this other area, which I actually have better access to. The rocks are a little bit sharp right here, so I don't want to fall in or anything. But generally, like, not that area, but like in this slack water area where the current's not as strong. Let's see if there's any fish among these rocks. Oh, got one, I got one, I got one. This is actually a pretty big one. This is a sunfish. Check that out, check that out. Check that fish out. I got a sunfish. It's not a legendary sunfish though. It's actually significantly smaller than the ones in the pond. And now for the traditional toss. Goodbye, fish. All right, we just casted. Oh, first cast, we got a fish. We got a fish. It's another sunfish. It's another sunfish, and a significantly bigger one. Well, no, it's actually about the same size as the one we actually got over there, below stream. So there we go, another sunfish. All right, sunfish, back in the water you go. After exploring for an hour where to fish this side, we're going to go, we've actually come upon this little creek opening. We're gonna fish the entirety of this creek, but let's actually see what is here in the confluence with the river. My bait I'm using, I've changed up a bit. This is pretty much a torn up bait. It's basically this little green jig thing here, and it's like a little fish. I used this bait before on other rivers, and it's pretty much dead. Might have to change out for a fresh fry soon. So we'll see what happens here. Just a little simple toss in the middle of the stream. Oh, I got a tug already. Oh, got one already, got one already. This one looks, oh, this one's lively. This one is lively. And this is a pretty damn big sunfish. You can see the size of my hand. The sunfish is roughly the size of my hand. Roughly the size of my hand. It's a pretty good sunfish indeed. I'm proud of this fish. Check that out. Check that out. A sunfish the size of my hand. See ya, fish. All right, got a better mimic minnow attached on. One that just won't randomly like have the tail fall off. Maybe I can get more fish with this. This one's not quite as used. We already got one good fish with a mimic. Oh, got another one. First cast out. This one's pretty sufficient as well. I think this is kind of looks like a pumpkin seed. I'm not really sure, but these are decent sized sunfish. These are definitely decent sized sunfish, as you can see. All right, time for the holy fish launch. See ya, fish. Plop. Let's cast out here again. You know, with those other tubers, they always like, oh, I see that fish right there. Man, their water is so much clearer than mine. Usually when I'm fishing, I can't see crap. Just like here, I can see maybe like 2 inches below the water and I can't really see any fish. Not really sure how they see fish. That's not gonna hook anything. But usually I can't see crap. I'm just thinking like, this water looks pretty deep here. Can probably get a couple of fish here. And I just basically look for deep water holes. But it's like they can actually see the fish. I've never actually been able to see the fish. Let's try this again. I just probably, I almost had one. All right, casting out again. They love this shad thing. It's really good fish fry. Oh, got one. Oh God, this one is jumpy as crap. This one is, this is a largemouth bass, that's why. This is actually a bass. This is it's not a, so there are bass in this lake. All right, that one slid back into the water very fast. But those largemouth bass are a little bit more lively than the sunfish, and the one's kind of like annihilating my bait. My bait can't take too many of more of those hooks. Let's see what else we got here. Maybe we'll get a smallie as well. Maybe we'll even get a smallie. It's like every 2 or 3 casts I'm getting a fish. Either a sunfish or a bass. It's the first time I've actually gotten a bass in this pond system. I was beginning to doubt whether they were here or not. Generally, like, hand-sized fish are all I can get. That one is probably a bass as well. Yeah, that's a bass, but is it a largie? Is it a smallie? No, that's a largemouth. Another largemouth bass. Look at that. Every few casts, we get a largemouth bass. Ah, way too lively. Damn it, bass. I'm gonna have to get this thing off the hook somehow. There you go, the largemouth bass. Nice largemouth bass. See ya, fish. So we know that there's fish in the confluence. How about slightly deeper in? Are there any fish in the stream that's not in the confluence? Oh, got one. Just as I was saying, it's another sunfish. Slightly smaller though. Slightly smaller, as you can see. Slightly smaller, as you can see, than the other fish. So the fish might actually be smaller the further I get back into the confluence. So little fish here, pretty nice. All right, this fish is a little smaller, but to grow larger fish, you must go and get onto larger things. Way out there. There you go. All right, we are back, and with a curly tail grub jig, I just confirmed this can still catch a lot of fish. So let's see if there's any fish in this part of the creek that could actually be sizable and bite the curly tail grub. Otherwise, we're gonna go back to the confluence area where the creek actually meets the, oh, definitely a fish. I think this grub might actually work better than the actual, the other thing. So there's definitely like fish. Oh, immediately. That's a pretty big sunfish actually. Oh, that's a really plump sunfish. Check that out. That is a huge plump sunfish. Look at that. It's probably the biggest one I've caught today in terms of sunfish. 0.48 pounds, almost half a pound. All right, there's another plumpeting of the stream here, and I think there's a darker, deeper channel here, so I'm gonna cast here. I think it is significantly starting to get shallower, so around this area. So I'm not really sure if I'm gonna get a fish, but I'm just gonna keep walking downstream and keep casting. It seems like only at the confluence there were largemouth bass, and then like as you get deeper into the stream, there's basically nothing but sunfish. I got one, This is a smaller sunfish, so it looks like the sunfish are actually getting smaller as you get deeper and shallower into the stream. There you go. Another sunfish. Another sunfish. This is actually bait-sized fish for a larger lake. Don't want to lose the worm though. Give me back the worm fish. All right, there you go. Move downstream even a little bit more. But I don't think, let's cast here. Don't think there's gonna be too much luck here in hooking a fish that's actually big enough to hook. Let's just cast upstream now. Nope. And as you can see here, as we go further and further, this area just kind of like lengthens out. I can feel little nips. Oh, I got one. Oh, this one is actually pretty big. So there are still big sunfish this far into the river. This one's not as big as that giant one I caught earlier, but you can see, but they're not as prevalent. They're still here, but I had to do about 20 casts before I got that one, whereas I was getting big hits a lot more often upstream. So check it out, sunfish. See ya, sunfish. Still pretty good sunfish. There's still a couple of good sunfish in this part, I guess, but we're gonna just go closer and closer to Costco at this point, and maybe Costco will have some of these sunfish on ice. I wonder if they sell the fish they get out of the stream. That would be kind of nasty, actually. And this is where we end up. This is kind of like the bridge drainage place. Costco is over there. And there's probably water beyond this, but I'm not gonna go through there. And that's where this little creek comes from. I'm gonna go back out there because I think most of the large fish I've caught are a little like halfway up this creek. This water is extremely shallow and there's nothing here. So I'm looking for a massive sunfish or a big largemouth bass now, because my guess is if there's like really small, if there's like big sunfish and small bass inside that creek, there's got to be like much larger fish here at the confluence point. Oh, that's a fish, and that is a larger fish than, no, it's still another crappy little bass. Come on, if there's like bass this big, if there are bass this size, there's got to be bass like bigger than this, right? Like this doesn't make any sense. Grow bigger, bass! Got one? That is a bass, but it's not a very big, oh no, yeah, it's a bass. It's a bass. It's a bass. So this lure does actually catch bass. Just not very big bass here, unfortunately. A bass. A bass. All right, bass. See you later. But all of them around this area seem to be about that size. That's the problem. Got another one. Got another one. This one is another bass, but kind of the same size as all the other bass. This is frustrating. No more bigger bass. Another bass. See ya, bass. It's like the 20th fish today, but nothing sizable. All right, so the sun's going down over there, so I think I'm gonna head home for today. It's getting a little cold too. I'm definitely gonna head home for today, but I'll be back tomorrow to fish the other side, because I am sure there's some bigger fish in here. If there's so many small fish, there's gotta be a large predatory fish. So I'll be back tomorrow. And we are back. Nice day, about 2:30, 3 o'clock right now. Plenty of time, 5-6 hours to fish today. I don't know if I'm gonna stay here that long, but we got a lot of lake and pond to cover. And we went on that side. There's actually people fishing where I was fishing yesterday. The point where the creek actually enters the the lake. That's probably the best point to fish. The place right here, as you can see, it's like there's a lot of debris and it's really shallow, so it's not good to fish these areas. Plus I would just get jammed like 10 times, so I'm not going to fish these areas. There's like way too much driftwood. I'm going to go over to where the pipes discharge, and I know there's fish there. I fished there like 2 days ago, and it was really good fishing time there. It's a really good fishing time there. So we're just gonna go over to that area where the pipes discharge, and we're gonna see if we can catch some epic sunfish there, and maybe some bass too. We're gonna use the crappie jig today, and I don't know if there's crappie in this lake or not, but let's just see what we catch, because that's all we can do. All right, standing by the pipes, trying to avoid the trees. There's a lot of seaweed here, so it's kind of difficult, but we want to just cast out into the more clear water. Oh, I got one. It's trying to snag me, which is, oh, but it did not succeed in snagging me this time. Oh, got another large, I think this is yeah, it's a sunfish. Check that out, another sunfish here. So by the pipes, definitely another good place to fish. The lure I'm using is actually the crappie lure, but this is not a crappie, obviously. It's a sunfish. It's not as big as the one I caught, the plump one I caught yesterday. So here we go. See you later, fish. Nice little splash. I don't think I'm actually hurting the fish with the see you later stuff. It's kind of fun. Gonna throw a fish like a football sometime. There's tons of fish out there, and I think the largest one was probably bigger than the biggest one I caught yesterday, but I have to sling out. I just have to sling way out into the lake over there. Oh, got one. See, as long as I cast out to a good place, I will get a fish. This one is struggling, but it will not beat me. Oh, it's trying to like, oh, this one's plump too. This one's very plump. This one's quite plump. I wonder how much this one weighs actually. It's very, very plump fish. I think it's probably the same size as the big one I caught yesterday. My guess it's around the same size as the big one I caught yesterday. It's another sunfish though, another sunfish. All right, so we're here at the entryway into the lake or pond or whatever you call it. And there's a deep pool right there. There was a duckling swimming right there. Maybe there's some evil pike waiting to snatch up some ducklings in here. We will see what's going on, if there's any fish in there. The entranceway into the proper lake. This place actually looks fairly deep because there's like a blue colored channel right there. So we're gonna cast here and see if we can get anything that doesn't snag the hell out of us. Well, the second day at Confluence Pond was kind of disappointing. The water table dropped quite a bit, and the other places we tried to fish didn't really get anything besides the 2 fish that we got at the pipes. The upper part of the pond where the creek flows in did not actually get any fish. So a little disappointing definitely, but maybe we'll go back there sometime to catch a monster fish after it rains. Oh well, still a very good 2 days fishing. Caught like 2 dozen fish or more. Saw a couple of bass, mostly sunfish, and there were many, there's at least 3 spots along that pond where there's actually fish. One is where the creek comes out, one is near the dam, and the other one is near where the pipes come out. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.